Interestingly enough, there's some rumors out there that the Rangers could be sellers at this point in time. I'm just saying. But they have won. They were on a winning streak. They were 7 games back. I got to check if that's different than right now, but they're 7 games back out of the final wild card spot. Having said that, if they are selling, guys, I think that is the team that Baltimore could have a little bit of double dipping, if you know what I mean. They could get a reliever and a starter. Now, they are saying that not every single pitcher is available, but right here, this is on what was the account up top? I can't.
MLB Deadline
MLB
News.
Deadline News. MLB Deadline News. Rival executives expect the Rangers to make Scherzer, Lorenzen, Heaney, Robertson, and Kirby Yates available ahead of the 2024 deadline, according to Bob Nightingale. So kind of what we went into, but the 2 names I'm looking at on that list, if Evaldi's not available, Scherzer and Robertson. Scherzer and Robertson could be the 2 pieces that the Orioles could go and make a move for, and I'll tell you why. You heard Steve allude to that it would take a lot. It would take a top prospect to get Crochet, and I think that's a 25, 26 move, not necessarily a 24 move. I don't think you're going to have to give up one of the untouchables. Guys, thoughts on that? Because that's where I'm at. I think Texas could be the perfect landing spot for the Orioles to go and get some guys that are battle tested for the playoffs.
I completely agree. And it's weird to me that Nate Eovaldi is not, honestly, on this list. It makes no sense, especially with his contract being up. I feel like he would be the perfect guy for the Rangers to want to sell high on. Obviously, after last year, he pitched so well in the playoffs. People want him on their team down the stretch. But I think you hit the nail on the head. The Rangers, especially with the talent they have, it's not talent that you're going to say, oh, we have to give up the farm for. It's talent that's going to help you, but it's not necessarily we have to give up Basayo. We have to give up Mayo. We have to give up a Kerstead. Even Kirby Yates really is putting it together this year. I know he's older, but he's returning back to his form. I see Justin even talked about Yates here, but it really does feel like the Rangers are the perfect trade partner right now for the Orioles if they don't want to give up the farm, but they want to get guys that will help you compete and will help you try to win a World Series. Rocco, you got anything?
Yeah, you want to go out and field the best team possible this season, especially because you don't know what's going to happen with Corbin Burns after this season ends, because he's probably going to test free agency. And everybody we've talked to, the Buster Olneys, the Jeff Passons, even the Tim Kirkshans of the world, I believe all 3 of those guys have alluded to, okay, with him being a Scott Boras guy, it would not surprise them. And it will likely happen with Burns going to test free agency and getting the best deal possible. It makes sense. Now, would O's fans love to have him here for the long run? Absolutely. Would Burns love to be here for the long run? Seems like he really likes this place a lot, and he flourishes here. But it remains to be seen. But right now, with the players you have, with the team you have, we talk about the window of opportunity all the time. You have 2 guys, centerpieces or cornerstones, whatever you want to call them, of your franchise that are currently, I don't even know if we want to call this the primes of their careers because they're only going to get better. But for Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman, you don't want to waste the window of opportunity that you have with these guys here in Baltimore and with Corbin Burns, because you're only going to have the 2024 team once. You see guys come and go. It happens with baseball all the time. The Rangers aren't the exact same team from last year, are they? No, absolutely not. So go out there, get somebody, whether it is with Texas, whether it is a Garrett Crochet, if you can. But like we talked about, Rip, with Crochet, you saw what the O's went after Burns and got him for. DL Hall, who was one of the best young lefties in the organization, and then a Joey Ortiz, who was one of the talented young guys in the organization, positional player-wise. That's what you gave up for a former Cy Young Award winner who's been there, done that, comes to Baltimore as a bona fide ace. Whereas, what are you going to have to give up to get Garrett Crochet, who's, I mean, look at his innings right now, and we've talked about this, and it scares a lot of people out there. The innings he's already pitched this season, and you talk about it being a 2025, 2026 kind of thing, I'd agree with you, man. But if they can get Crochet and not overpay for him, bring him into Baltimore and have him as a solid 2 or 3 option here, where it's a Corbin Burns, Grayson Rodriguez, Garrett Crochet, by all means, go out and get him. Mike Elias, at the end of the day, is going to make the best decision possible for this franchise, like he always does, to put them in the best position to win. People question him about the Kimbrel move. Look what Craig Kimbrel's doing right now. The guy should be an all-star. Starting pitching-wise, bringing over Corbin Burns, no one questioned that. But look what Corbin Burns is doing. So Mike Elias has made the moves necessary. Trust in that guy because he is going to take this franchise, this team, to the promised land at the end of the day.
Well, and the thing, and you're right, and that's the thing, is Mike Elias has made tremendous moves overall. And the thing for Crochet, though, as well, the reason why the asking price is steep, two reasons. One, he's 25 and has team control, so teams are going to hope to keep him. And then secondly, he's the most sought after available pitcher at this moment. So the price tag is going to be so damn high. So it's going to be, do you want to pay that? So that's when you look at other teams here, like Scooball. I don't think that he's made available. He's so talented of a player. The Tigers would be foolish to give him up. So when you're looking at this realm of possibilities, who are you going to go after? Another team I'm going to throw in there that you could a little double dip here for your action. They say that they're not going to be big sellers on these guys, but I would call the Angels about two players specifically. I would call them about Tyler Anderson, and I would call them about Carlos Estevez, going out of the bullpen relief pitcher. Those are two guys that are having great years. Anderson is older, and he's under team control for one more season. I think that that's a fit. I think for the Orioles, and I know it's sexy, I think Scherzer Robertson would be electric for this team. I think that would be on the top of my list if we're looking at Rangers right now. But if you're going to go look at a value, getting two players that can help your team, and Zach, you heard me say this, and Rocco, what was the biggest move last year, and he wasn't considered an ace for the Texas Rangers? Who was it?
Jordan Montgomery.
And Montgomery's a great pitcher. Is it safe to say we're not considering him an ace? Right? No. Solid, maybe 3 guy.
I mean, not this year, especially after missing spring training and such.
But with that being said, Rip, continue. I'll say this quickly. The Rangers won the deadline by getting Scherzer and him. Look what they did, and look what they ended up doing. So
right, but then Scherzer was the guy that really didn't factor in to their team. Now, I still like Scherzer on that case. I know people are saying, well, what if the Cubs are sellers? Well, yeah, if Justin Steele's available, like, hell, yeah, kick the door down about who's available. But the question is, who is available, and do you get desperate? That's the biggest thing. Mike Elias does not get desperate on players, and I don't think that's going to start this year. But if he likes a guy, he will go and send somebody, a big name, to go out there. And it was curious that Steve was saying, I wouldn't give up Sam Basayo, but if you are set that Garrett Crochet or a type of pitcher like that caliber is available now, and you think he's an Oriole for years to come, then by all means, you go and make a move. But for the other guys right now, I really think is what's the best value. And I think there's going to be names that we're not talking about, that the other prospects that don't get a lot of recognition. The Orioles have so many pieces, they might not have to sell off if they can't get their high value guy. They might make another Corbin Burns-esque trade in the fall. That's just my thought here, guys. So take that for what you want it to be. I don't think Scooball's available. If Scooball's available, then you're calling the Tigers and say, I want him.
Yeah. Sorry, Rip. I thought you were done. Continue.
That's it.
No, I'm saying, and you said this from the start with the Orioles are going to make a move at this deadline, but you think I can't remember if you said the biggest splash is going to be this offseason in free agency. Like you can see them really making a big splash and maybe doing something, maybe not of that magnitude here. Correct me if I'm wrong. You said something along the lines of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that if another high-end pitcher isn't being made available, then they're not going to overspend or overvalue a pitcher. That's what they're not going to do. And that's what I'm looking at. A Scherzer Robertson, I could see a multitude of pack of players that could involve maybe it could be one of the 4 or 5 that could say untouchable, but I think it could be a combination of Norby, Beavers, Fabian, some other highly touted upside players. And I think that's where people have to look. Now, again, and it's not saying that's what I would do, but I do think that Mike Elias is going to look at how can I get a value on guys. And people that are wondering about Scherzer Scherzer's contract is going to be eaten up by the Rangers most likely, and it's like $12.5 million. Tyler Anderson on the Angels is $13 million for next year. For guys that are very good starting pitchers, that is a price that you'd be willing to take on the value. Now, Skubal and Crochet, yeah, you better pony up because those guys are looked to be frontline guys, and those don't grow on trees.